Booktopia TV. I'm John Purcell and I'm here with Dr. Xanthé Mallett to talk about her new book, Mothers Who Murder. Welcome, Xanthé.
Hello.
You're a forensic anthropologist.
Yep.
Can you tell me a bit about that? I don't know much about that.
Forensic anthropology is the study of human remains normally. So if you think of Bones, the TV show, it's kind of like that.
Your bones.
I'm like Bones, but for the real world. So, taking, what happens in actuality, and that's what I do. So identifying dead people normally, cheerful, yeah.
And are you still doing that like part-time as a hobby, or is it something?
As a hobby? Yeah, I identify dead people in my spare time. I still do have links with police forces, and certainly doing programs like Wanted on Channel 10, still linking in with the police there, advising on some aspects of the case, because in the UK things work slightly differently to Australia, so I've got a different background that I can bring to the casework here. Still working with partners on various projects, so yeah, but not in my spare time.
Well, I've been hearing that you've been working on the TV series Coast and having a great time, and I can't see that being broken up by, I'm just going to run off and check this dead body out. Is that the way it is, or?
Yeah, I mean, Coast is great fun. Coast Australia is brilliant fun to film, and I've learned some amazing things. It's a great journey, but it has to fit in with my real job. I'm a lecturer at a university, I have teaching commitments, I have other research commitments and writing commitments. So yeah, everything has to, it's a bit like a puzzle, trying to fit it all in.
Well, that's a busy, I thought I had a busy life. That sounds like a busy, very busy life. You're now, you've got your books as well. Now, Mothers Who Murder. What is it about Mothers Who Murder that makes us, that chills us so much?
I think it's one of the final taboos, really. Naturally we think of mothers as the kind of nurturers and that care for children. So when women harm children, especially their own children, I think that really is quite shocking for a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of people about why, because when fathers murder, there doesn't seem to be the same outpouring of rage almost that when mothers do. And I think I was interested because you have that power of the rage and the emotion that comes with it, but I'm interested in why people do it and the responses to it, because women kill for all sorts of reasons, but they still deserve a fair trial. So there's got to be a balance with how we look at these cases.
Who are the women who I mean, they can't be just one kind of person, but are there certain types of people that may fall into that, or is it just random and up to different circumstances people face?
That's quite a difficult question to answer. When I first started this, I was hoping there would be a certain type of women that we could almost look at in terms of what can we learn from past cases to try and stop it happening again. And there is a demographic of women who tend to kill their children more so than others, and they tend to come from lower socioeconomic classes, they tend to have lower education standards, abuse in their background, either physical or sexual, substance abuse issues, all those kind of things. So there is that demographic that we think of almost as the kind of the common killer, but there's also the other ones that there's no warning signs, there's no abuse, there's no apparent trigger. So it's this mix of people, and there is no one group that we can look to and say, well, if we look for the warning signs here, then maybe we can protect children. It's just not that simple.
You were talking before about the emotion that is involved in such a murder, and the subtitle of the book is infamous Miscarriage of Justice. The most famous one would be Linda Chamberlain. Is there a greater propensity for a miscarriage of justice in a case where a mother has committed murder because of the emotion that's caused amongst everybody involved?
I think it can go one of two ways. Either people initially refuse to believe that a mother can kill her children, so the Department of Public Prosecutions, I think, in some ways could be reluctant to prosecute unless there's very strong evidence, because a mother killing is just so against everything you think of, as natural almost. But when a woman is accused and people do believe she's guilty, there is then this general kind of social backlash. There is no punishment that's too severe, and I then think getting a fair trial is very difficult because of the media response and the social and public response. So I think it can go both ways depending on the case.
What are the cases in the book that you look into for the miscarriage of justice?
Start with Lindy Chamberlain, because in terms of miscarriages of justice in filicide cases or child death cases, she's like ground zero, isn't she really?
Yeah.
I also go to some of the British cases because we've got an interesting history that is paralleling some of the things that are happening here that I looked at when I was studying my PhD, so kind of bringing in some of the cases. Sally Clark, who you won't be aware of until you've read the book, yeah. Accused of murdering children when she was in fact innocent, and it destroyed her life in a sense. She was released after a second appeal, but she had major drinking problems by then and ended up dying shortly after release, so it ruined her life even though she'd done nothing wrong. And there's also Kathleen Folbig in there as well, which is a really contentious one. I'm not saying that I think she's necessarily innocent of killing her children, but to me there's question marks over whether the evidence is reliable to prosecute her beyond reasonable doubt, and I'd like to see maybe her case reviewed in the interest of justice.
So that beyond reasonable doubt is one of those ones that many, especially families of victims, and find the most infuriating, because you meet a lot of police people, a lot of lawyers, and even those on the other side who might say, yeah, probably did it, but we haven't got the right amount of evidence, or the evidence isn't clear enough to convict. When a case has got a conviction and there are people wanting to retry because of their doubts, when everyone kind of feels the person is guilty, that's kind of a very murky area to get involved in. Are you someone who would stand up and say, yes, here's the evidence. It doesn't go as far enough to get, in my belief, to get the conviction. It's a dangerous spot to be standing in, to be saying that.
To stand up and be counted.
Yeah, in that case, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it is, because certainly in these cases there is that level of emotion that goes with them, and when people have been found guilty. But to me, if there's ever a question mark, then I think it should be raised, because innocent people shouldn't be in prison, and although obviously guilty people should, if there's that question mark and the evidence needs reevaluation, then yeah, I'd stand up and be counted, and take any flack that may well come from that. I'm not somebody who's going out to be kind of contentious or to rock the boat, but yeah, in my opinion, I think her case does warrant a review. I'm certainly not the only person who thinks so. There's been a book written a couple of years ago that first raised the question, and I had my doubts before I saw the book. Then I saw the book, and it raises a lot of the same issues that I had. So I'm not alone, but yeah, I think I'd be brave enough, because somebody's in prison at the end of the day, and they may or may not be guilty, but I think another analysis is warranted.
Thank you very much for talking with us. It's been very interesting. I could have gone for ages going into each one of the... I have to get hold of the book and read it.
You have to read the book. You read the book, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mothers Who Murder is available from booktopia.com.au right now.